Okay, so let's just remind ourselves. So when it comes to get shit done, how do we start that project? I think the way to start that project is we're gonna go down here and we say $GSD, say new project. So initialize new project with deep context. So I'm not sure if we're supposed to use new project um, for every single phase of it. Like, is that kind of what we're doing? Um, yeah, do we need to use GSD new project for each phase? Or what do we, not for each phase, but like, so let's say I'm going to add some additional stuff, okay? I'm going to build something. This is going to basically start over the working like phase, so to speak. I know that there's phases within the project, but my question for clarity is, does this just um, does it start us on like a feature development process? Does that make sense? Right. That's kind of what I need to clarify here. Because I thought that it was like there was another way that we went about this that wasn't just GSD new project, but I think this might be it. Um, yeah. Let's see. Yes, frame makes sense. Project versus no. You do not need to start a brand new, just new project for new feature or phase. Right. So, right. Add additional stuff entering working building phase. Best model, phase, current delivery wave, feature cycle, repeatable production loop. Okay, so instead of this, we say start feature. Okay. So it's just to clarify that GSD is not like super obvious at first. It is a step-by-step process. Um, so let's go ahead. We'll take a look at we're looking at GSD start feature. GSD start. Let's see, that doesn't exist. That does not exist. Yeah, let's get some clarity here. GitHub. Done latest. Initialize a product, yes. Okay. We have code, parallel agents, GSD, new project, knows your code base, questions focus on what you're adding and planning, automatically loads your patterns. Okay, so actually that makes sense to me. You know? GSD, okay, so that's not how it goes. GSD, new, that's right. Okay, GSD, new, initialize a new project with deep context gathering and project. See, that just seems like a repeatable. That just seems like redundant. Like, I'm sure we've done that. That's all. Yeah. Can you double check based on the documentation here? So, can you double check on that considering the documentation here? Because there is no GSD start feature. That's just not on the list. If I go into, and you can see, like, so if we want to take a look at how Get Shit Done works, we can see that the commands are right in here. Let's see here. It's add phase, add tests, so it's all done in these markdown files, which is kind of cool. New project. Yeah. So like when I see that page, that GitHub page, it seems to imply that new project is kind of for a new feature. But when I look at the GSD list right here, in this case, it says it initializes a project, new project with deep context gathering. So one way or the other, there's some confusion here. Yeah, project like might just cut this out because it makes it look super tricky, but really it's just have to know how it works. Start a new milestone cycle. Up to, oh, well, that might be it, frankly. That might be it. New milestone. Audit milestone. So, like, I would say that that's probably what the confusion is. Yeah. New milestone. That sounds right. Sounds awesome. So the key is coming from the word project. Yeah. Let's do it. New milestone. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to go new milestone. And go like that. Okay. So let's talk about what the milestone should be. We're going to take a look here. So we have these different project types. Well, they're organized by project types, but we could say that these are just different files because the editor's working. Here we go. Not completely, but here's the AI sidecar. It doesn't add anything yet. Okay. So we could start looking at that, but kind of just for demonstration purposes, we're going to keep this like really simple and just show how it can do things. So what we want to do is we want to make it so that we can choose a file that we've opened in the past from my projects, and then it would be good if we could just make it so that World Bible and Outcome Wizard are clickable, accessible, so we could go there and just see something. Because again, this is just for a demo purposes. So we're not even going to look at the code right now. Let's go ahead and set the code aside. But it's an important thing to keep in mind that we're not planning on changing any of the structure of the program here. Here's where the components are. We might go ahead and refactor that, and we can do that with Get Shit Done, and we can do that with Codex. But and look, we have projects view, we got a settings view, library view, editor view, collaborator view. So it has access to all this stuff. It's gonna read it and understand what we're doing. So current milestone context is still the first workspace milestone. There's no separate milestone context file for the next one. The one thing I need from you before I update project MD and start the new milestone cycle is the milestone intent. What's your intent? Could be a little bit less verbose. Fair criticism. What do you want to build next in this new milestone? Give me a short name plus the main target features. Okay. I want to be, so the name could be, so we're going to call it my projects, and navigation. So that's what we're going to call it to give it a short name. And in this case, we're going to build, send the full milestone intent in one message. Yeah, that was my goal. But hey, that's kind of cool. It figured that out. Okay, so my projects and navigation. In this case, we want my projects to reflect files that have been open in the editor in the past. I wonder if we're going to need like SQLite or something like that. Hopefully not. Past. Can we avoid using SQLite yet or anything like that? We could just save. We could just save the locations of the project files. In this case, we're they're just text files right now. Okay, we're not getting too complicated. The project files in a file, right? Bad grammar there, but it shouldn't matter, which is good and bad. Also, the navigation menu on the left should work on a basic level. If there are components available for these views, then use those. Let's take a look and see if the settings works. We've got support. No, there's no. Oh, up here. This is the settings page. Okay, so that's working. That's well. For World Bible and Outcome Wizard. So specifically, then use those. World Bible and Outcome. What is it called? Outcome Wizard, which frankly I don't really know what that means right now. We're gonna think about that more as we approach the features. Again, this is a Get Shit Done demo. You know what I mean? Okay. So it should have a basic view the way settings does. And what else? What else do we got going on here? I guess we could get down to main target features. Okay, I think that that's good enough for now to get sort of the basic gist going. And it's working. You will have a lot of time while it's working. It's the only thing that I'm not jazzed about with this kind of workflow is that it definitely you're definitely going to wait for the AI here and there, and start. There's just you're going to notice certain points in the process where it takes longer, and you'll be able to start figuring out, okay, I can go do something else productive during that time. So it just takes a little experience with it to work with it efficiently. Make the app feel usable outside the editor by surfacing previously opened writing files in my projects. Make the left navigation routes work at a basic level. Target features, my projects reflects local.txt files that were opened in the editor before. Persistent stays file-based and lightweight. Save file locations in a plain app data file, not SQLite. Good. Left nav destinations work on a basic level. World Bible gets a simple working view if no stronger component already exists. Same thing with Outcome Wizard. Avoid SQLite or heavier storage for now. Reuse and experience. Reply with either looks good. Okay, so we're going to say looks good. All right. Or the exact changes you want to make before I update project, right? So now it's updating project.md to kind of keep it on the straight and narrow. Let's see if we can take a look at what it's doing. Where did we put a project? Let's try this project MD. Okay, so it's in dot planning. So we can see kind of what it's doing. It has, I don't know if it's made any updates yet to it. This is the stuff that we validated last time. It's funny, it has stuff that's left over that's active. I wonder if it will notice that and update exactly. Oh, did it just update? Just updated. So it just updated what is active on its own to kind of provide the context for the process. So now in this case, I might end up pausing for a little bit here because we're going to do some research. So the milestone kickoff docs are updated locally. One workflow decision remains before I move into requirements and roadmap generation, whether to do research first for this milestone. So it's going to go on the internet. It's going to figure out based on what our plan is and what we're trying to accomplish. It's going to go ahead and figure out if there's any details it needs to do that. And this takes a little bit, usually, for obvious reasons. We're going to see it kick off, at least based on my past experience, it's going to kick off a number of agents to do the research in parallel still. So it's not like it takes forever. It's just you could go make a cup of coffee usually. Commit step, hit a git lock issue. I got to look into that. Yeah, let's take a look at that quick. Yeah. So when I get to research and some other stages, when I'm working with Get Shit Done, I end up with this git lock issue. Is that something that is making things take longer? What's the solution to make this, to give it permission? Does it need permission? What does it need? And we'll go ahead and ask that while we go over here. And we see, look, we've got different agents. Here's Hegel, Kierkegaard, Helmholtz, doing different things that need to be done. So closing out execution checker threads first. Then I'll launch the pitfalls researcher and wait for the set to finish. So it's looking for like if there's problems that could result. And it's going to figure all that out. Different researchers. We got 4 different researchers. You'll notice some of these names are familiar. Hubble, Galileo, Gibbs, and Helmholtz, right? So, and those are actually doing the researching. We will come on back when the researching is done. So one thing that happens, time and again when we start getting into like these next steps, and you see next step will be the planning phase for this particular milestone. They're gonna ask. There might be a way to get around this, but they ask for pretty much every single time we run something in the terminal. So here is trying to run the GSD tools. Committed, is that what we're doing? Node. We're trying to start something. So we're trying to run a script that it has. So it's asking, it's saying, hey, can we do this? We could see where that script is. It's in Codex. Let's see here. Codex, Get Shit Done, bin, GSD tools. Yeah. So we can, if we want to go ahead and study what exactly it's running in here, this is where a lot of the machinery is for Get Shit Done. So that's what it's doing anyway. So I'm just going to say, yeah, sure, you can do that whenever you need to. After all, it is kind of an instrumental part of the application. And let's see here. Let's see what we got. Okay, milestone is initialized. Updated artifacts are on disk. Okay, so this means that it basically has all these different files ready to provide context for Codex as it continues to work. The new milestone is scoped around lightweight recent file history in my projects, file-based persistence only, working left nav destinations, and basic world Bible outcome wizard views. The roadmap now continues. Okay, so we have 3 phases, right? These are the next phases. I've already done phase 1 to 3 to make some changes and improvements and get that editor working basically. So we have this, basic editor functionality, that all in auto saves, different fonts. So that was all taken care of through the first 3 phases. So the important point is that we're doing something really simple here. It shouldn't really take much time, but I could go for something that's more complex, right? I'm just approaching this for the demo example. Each phase, like this is, I totally feel like each phase is like so light. So let's check this out. We're gonna go GSD plan phase, where it's gonna start. So it's gonna start recent file history, projects and destination views, navigation polish, and milestone validation. Right. Let's go. And we're working. All right, so after a few seconds, it actually wasn't that long at all. Phase 4 has milestone level research and requirements, does not have a phase context yet. That means I need one routing decision before I can plan cleanly. Okay. So no context exists for phase 4. Continue without phase context, or capture phase 4 decisions first. Continue without context. Well, I'd like to know something a little bit about this. Like, what is it really asking for when it's asking for context? So, yeah, we'll just say that, all right? Boom. So this is what Get Shit Done gives me and is asking for. Can you explain a little bit more about what continuing without context versus discuss context first means, right? We're capturing phase 4 decisions before planning. Well, what does that even mean? We might just do it just to find out, but maybe we can get some clarity first, and that would be really great. Because my assumption is like we're going to be more thorough, then we're going to want that context. We're doing something relatively simple, I think. Most important, so this is actually one of the most important leverage points in the whole GSD workflow, because it determines whether planning is generic or architecture aware. Well, it seems like we should be architecture aware, right? I mean, we don't want them putting things in weird places or anything, right? So, kind of system you're building, I would usually choose option 2 unless the phase is tiny. It is kind of tiny, but let's digest this anyway. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna go. Oops, that was a comma, but we'll just pretend like we're Russian and use commas instead. Okay, so we want to rerun. Okay, run this command: GSD discuss phase. Oh, discuss phase. Well, see, I kind of expected this, so it is something that I would look into. Is like how we can remove unnecessary steps, right? You know, not always possible, but it does stay pretty thorough. So phase 4 is clean to discuss, no existing context or plans, is narrower than the milestone overall. The main gray areas that still seem worth looking are 1. History capture policy. This decides which file events should add update my projects. Current likely options are open and new, right? So, yeah, reply with the numbers. So we're just going to reply with the numbers here. So I just go comma 2, comma 3, comma 4. And then it's going to give us options or ask for clarity for each one. So that's how it avoids any kind of miscommunication, essentially. So let's start. We're just going to say, yeah, we're going to go over all of them, right? There's 4. You're asking about 4. Let's dig in. So the first one, history capture policy, because it determines what my projects even means. Record only successful, open, and new actions. Record successful, open, new, and later successful saves. So sometimes I'm just like, hey, let's just do the recommended, Record every attempted file interaction. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go with 2. Simple as that when it comes to this discussion phase. Now, if it gives me an option that I don't like, I'm just going to go ahead and tell it that's fucked up. Don't do it that way. Logged. Recent file history should update on successful and later. Yes. Next, is the history entry shape? Path only, path plus file name. I don't understand why you would just do path only. So yeah, a slightly richer record could add things like last action type or cache snippet. You know, yeah, that increases complexity. So we're just gonna go with 2. This is why I say, like, you know, like, it's possible we could have skipped this phase. And this has happened before where I go through and it's basically everything recommended is what I would do. Use a lightweight, yeah. Next is missing file behavior. Keep missing entries visible with an unavailable state until the user removes them. Auto prune missing entries after a failed reopen. Yeah, let's go with number 1. Again, recommended. If anything, it makes you feel at least like you're communicating clearly. Last gray area is the project surface presentation. Denser recent files list, best fit for local file because it emphasizes file name, path, status, and recency over decorative project art. I like the card style, and I like to adapt it like that, but risk over design for this milestone. Yeah, we're keeping it simple. The whole point is that there's no direct way to be associating like art to the particular file yet. It would be cool if we had AI just go ahead and make a picture for you. But that's not a critical option for functionality. So let's just, again, go with recommended in this case. But we can get pickier. Probably if I was looking for something else, now we're going to go to the plan phase, by the way. And I'm going to start that before I finish talking. So I think that what I would do if I were going for something with a lot more depth, a bigger walkthrough, I would probably create it through discussions with ChatGPT, get down to like a big 1-paragraph clarification of what we're trying to do, and then I would have started with that when I created the new milestone. So in this case, it's just so simple. Yeah, we will, after it's doing the planning phase, we're going to take a small break, but it might only be a couple of minutes. Oh, well, it might be done. It might be close to being done. So it shouldn't take too long, really. This is all of the material that it's adding to kind of to plan out everything it's going to do. Prior phase decisions. So it's intelligently picking what we need to make progress. Right now we are here again at a research phase after we've gotten some of that clarification. So let's go ahead and do the research. All right, so it just took, I think, well, it doesn't list how long it took altogether, but it was about, let's say, 4 minutes. I think it was like 3 something, but it was about 4 minutes, close to 4 minutes at least, that it took to finish up that research. So, and then it did, and research is written now, including the validation architecture, the planning workflow expects expect. So it's writing tests for us. One gate remains before I can plan. There's no phase for UI design contract yet. This phase includes a new My Projects surface. You know, so so we can go ahead and do that. I'm not sure. It's, you know, it's not super spectacular at UI and and it has this is kind of its attempt to compensate for that. What it'll eventually do is there'll be some sort of a problem. Oh, we can start this while we talk. Um, it'll have some kind of a problem, and its its main strategy for solving UI challenges is to basically output diagnostic data into the UI, and then you'll copy it and paste it in, and then it'll use that to as a feedback mechanism. That seems to be the case. I bumped into a couple of UI things, and it went around in circles like a couple of times, and then it asked for more details, and then solved it. So it has built-in strategies to address UI issues, but you're definitely going to. That's definitely part of your job is testing it manually when it's all done, and then communicating about what the issue is. So, so yeah, if we're talking about anything that involves code, I haven't looked at any of the code yet. We haven't looked at any of the code yet, and it is doing its job. We will be able to update this stuff as it gets updated. We've got a great, it seems like, hot module swapping, great stuff going on here. So, so yeah, if somebody is just good at the code, then this takes a while. So if you're working in an environment you know deeply and you see it, you see the issue, you're highly experienced in all these technologies, then this might take a little while, right? But at that point, you're probably not getting the most out of it. So where you're going to get the most out of this is to tackle levels of complexity that would take you longer to figure out. Here, it's doing research focused specifically on the UI aspects, so that it's prepared when when it needs to do that as accurately as it can, because it's not visual. Once this gets to the point where it can go and test everything, not just in the expects, not just in the test suites, but full on, manually, visually, then this is going to be much faster. You'll be able to walk away for more than 4 minutes. All right, so what it just did, it took it about, I think it was like 8 minutes or so. So this UI step, definitely, it had an issue regarding a 40 pixel rule that it was dealing with. I really wasn't involved in this decision, but but it figured it out. So now we're gonna go ahead and plan phase 4. Oop, not plain phase 4. We're gonna plan phase 4. There we go. So this usually takes a little bit faster, more like a couple of minutes. So it just hit about, I think we're over 12 minutes, almost 13 minutes in the planning phase, but this is basically what it's creating. Here's the context for phase 4, discussion log. Let's see here. I think this is, what did it just do? Oh. So right now, it seems to be adding in files. Here's plans. So here's the validation strategy. Man, it's like having a bunch of little workers all signing things off. This is after it turned off, it closed down a bunch of agents. And then it started to focus more on the GSD plan checker. So it's going through a whole process here. Hitting 14 minutes in planning. Now I wish I had done something a little bit more complicated. I'm not sure it would have generated less for something a little bit more complex. That would be, I mean, that's kind of, that's really where the efficiency can be produced, is finding the right size of task for it. Hopefully, at least based on my experience, the complexity can be greater. Yeah, at that point, we really are starting to talk about architectural decisions. So, like, for instance, building a service that can be reused and anticipating the need for that service. Building things at the right level of abstraction, that becomes what architecture and software engineering are about when we're using these kinds of AI tools to actually write the code. Because you can't just throw things into like one big pot and kind of feel your way around. I mean, we've been told not to do that for a long time anyway, but like, for the same reasons why you need to keep things simple and organized and structurally at the right levels, is because you're going to have other people working on your code normally. You're going to have to show your code to other people, and then, of course, you're going to have to show your code to yourself, maybe months or years down the line. And you need to remember where everything is exactly. Being forced to work at a certain level of abstraction, I think, makes better architecture, in period, right? So here we have arrived. Now we are at the execute phase. So this is where, once we run it, we are actually going to get the code created. Up until this point, we have not created any code. These are all markdown files based on research and planning and conversations that we've had. So only now is it going to write actual code. No shit. Let's get shit done. I will return when it's done. Okay, so now we're getting down to it. We did some execution. We've got a couple of files that have been made. We've got a new JSX file, and we updated the projects view. Do we want to allow them to stage the verified task2 files for the required atomic git commit? Sure. Let's let it do that. Let's just give it permission to do that. So, at least as far as we can see, all this extra material created, kind of a change log, maybe not this file, of course, that is the plan, interactive context, and here we got recent projects controller, added some there. Oh, that's a test file. It's updating our styles CSS a little bit. Gosh, that's a big file. That's a big file, I tell you. All right. Okay. Here we're gonna let it give it a whirl, and this is gonna set it up so that we can test it out and see if it's working the way it should. Of course, I got this open already. It doesn't know if you already have one open. All right, so this is where I was. So it's good at saving you where you were when you last closed the application, which is intentional. Let's see here. So here is the checkpoint verification. So this is where it asks, hey, is this the way it's supposed to be? So we should be able to go to projects now. And well, here we can create a new file. And we're just going to call that file Mr. Testy. Mr. Test file. Okay. And here we go. This is now we're in the editor. No, I'm not going to type a novel right now, but we can go back to projects. And see, that's Mr. Test file. Where's the other one? So maybe because it's new, let's try another one. We're going to open up a new one. We're going to say the most awesome test file ever. Okay, so here's the most. There we go. The most awesome test file ever. And we have Mr. Test file. So that's great. It's really simple, but that's the point at the moment, I guess. And looks kind of good. Let's say we could open a text file because we did murder test. Okay. Oh, now that's on the list, and we can open another one, so that's good. There's test me. Oh, I think we got a lot in test me. Yeah, so we can go to projects, and there we are. And we can go back to over here. There's nothing here. Her here, right? And then go back to projects, murder test, and back to the most awesome. There's nothing here. Okay, so this is working pretty good. Let's see what we all verified. From my projects, trigger open text file. Yes. Return to my projects and confirm the file appears in recent files. It does. From either my projects or the editor, create a new text file. Make an edit. Yes. All of that worked. Open an older recent file. Save it successfully. We did. Quit and relaunch the app. Confirm recent file history still appears. Let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to go and close. We're going to quit it. Just quit it. And oh, it should be closed. We got it closed. Yep. And we're going to go npm start. Here we go again. There's nothing here. Murder test. Yes. Okay. All looks good. Very good. No. Good enough, at least. Use remove on the unavailable entry. Move or delete one tracked file outside the app. Reopen. Yeah. Use remove on the unavailable entry. Do I want to bother? Confirm the warning says the disk file is not deleted. And verify the row disappears only after explicit confirmation. I guess we would have to go to document. I don't know. This is fine. I'm going to say approved for now. We can come back and work on the edge case if that's necessary. So this is the basic workflow. Now that we've approved it, looks like it's committed the work. And we're handing the approval back to the phase 4 executor so it can finish the checkpoint task, write the final summary, state updates, and close the phase cleanly. So there you have it. All right, so let's see, that took for a couple minutes. Phase 4 is complete. My projects now shows real recent files backed by lightweight JSON metadata. Recent file reopens stays on the trusted file path, and missing files remain visible as unavailable until removed. Your manual electron verification passed. The main implementation landed, so it goes ahead and lists all the files that it created, plans summaries. Yeah, recent file history summaries. So those are kind of the change log in a manner of speaking. Verification that ran. It's good. So we ran all these tests. Now we would discuss phase 5. I think we're planned out for 5 and 6 at this point. So, but it would basically just repeat the phases. It'd be a little bit faster from my experience. The additional, the last 2 phases, obviously, but after that, we would have everything that we planned out in that milestone. So I'm not sure if it intentionally goes to 3 phases for every milestone or if it senses that, but that's just been my experience so far. Anyway, I hope you enjoy Get Shit Done. Just try it out. Give it a whirl. You'll be glad you did.